Hi everyone, good afternoon. It's Sarah Pacaro with Rapid Transformational Therapist with Rewrite Your Life. I'm going to talk to you guys today about 6 different personality traits that are signs and symptoms that you may have had emotional childhood neglect. And this may be intentional, but a lot of people say they had really good childhoods and they don't understand why they're ending up in the relationship with narcissists or these toxic and unhealthy relationships. So many people I work with had really good childhoods, and I would put myself in that category as well, but there's still emotional neglect that shows up unintentionally because parents are just busy, especially if you have multiple children. So there are personality traits and characteristics that can lead to signs of emotional neglect as a child, and you may see some of these in your own life. Oftentimes the people that I work with express many of these and just don't know where they came from. So the first one is it's often difficult to feel or tell what you're feeling. Like, are you angry? Are you hurt? Are you sad? Like, it's just really difficult to know because you've been in that relationship with the narcissist and hopefully you've come out of it, but you're still in this state of confusion and you're just wondering, like, what's going on? I don't know up from down. I don't know how I'm feeling. Is it shame? Is it guilt, anger, frustration? It's really difficult to decipher. And you may find that you are reluctant or unable to state your preferences. Like, you may feel like you don't even know who you are anymore. You may find yourself trying to guess, like, I think I like this. I don't even know anymore. That's a really common phrase. I just don't know. But all the things that you used to like, just now it seems so uninteresting, and you're just so unmotivated to maybe even get out of bed or do anything these days because this feeling like you've just been put down so hard for so long, you just feel completely lost. This leads into the third one. This causes you to neglect your own self-care. Maybe you don't eat healthy food anymore. You find yourself numbing with either TV or social media or drinking too much or whatever it is, or finding things outside yourself. Maybe you're constantly online, like looking to just get another relationship. I don't know. Like, your self-care is out the window. You don't put yourself first. You don't eat healthy. You don't exercise the way you used to. So this is something that people really struggle with. If you've had emotional childhood neglect, chances are you are blaming yourself for all the things that are happening and going on, and it is not your fault, but you've got to get to the root cause of why you feel like it is your fault so you can begin putting yourself first. I know, like, there's this whole self-love movement, and there really is something to it. It's not selfish. So many people feel like if I put myself first, that just means I'm selfish and I'm putting myself above my kids and my kids need me and all these things. And it doesn't have to be so extreme that you're neglecting your own kids to do this. That's not the point. The fourth one is you really find that you avoid conflict, like, at all costs. This leads to not being able to stand up for yourself, to speak up for yourself, not feeling that you have a voice. So many clients I work with, it's amazing that this feeling in their chest and their throat, it just feels so much lighter. Some of you notice, like, your chest feels so tighter, your throat feels really tighter, you're coughing a lot, like you just can't express yourself. You're avoiding this conflict, and you'll notice that these feelings start to arise when the abuser or when those triggers start to happen. Immediately you'll feel like your heart start racing, the knots in your stomach, because there's this conflict that's coming up and you're like, oh my god, no, I can't do this. Our mind's job is to take us toward pleasure and away from pain, and obviously you've had so much pain in the past with this childhood emotional neglect, and now in this relationship with a narcissist where they have no emotional empathy, so how can they meet your emotional needs? They can't, and they don't. But you're trying to avoid this conflict, so you find it really hard. Maybe in the past you've tried to get them to talk about the problems or to take responsibility for something, and they just aren't. They're putting it on you, and you want to avoid the conflict, so you take it all on yourself. It's your responsibility. Well, the body can only take so much of that before it begins to break down and manifest and show itself in physical form of some kind of disease. So it is so important to actually talk about your problems and process them and not hold them in. And so many people are so afraid of conflict that they hold them in because of this just fear of what's going to happen if they don't. Then the next one is becoming acutely uncomfortable when other people have strong feelings. You'll notice if other people start to express themselves or raise their voice, you start to really just get uncomfortable yourself instead of saying, okay, they're just having a really strong feeling. Again, you apologize maybe for upsetting them or making them get angry. Like, again, you take this responsibility on as your own. Or you may notice you try to change the subjects, or you try to leave, or go do something else when someone else becomes upset about something. Like, that's not a normal, healthy reaction. It's okay to stay there and be there and not take it on, but you feel like, how do I do that? That's impossible. And then the next thing is, you may notice that everything is about other people. It's about your kids, it's about your family, it's about the ex, it's about whatever, whoever, but you don't talk much about yourself. And you don't let, I mean, even if you do get a compliment, you don't let it in. If someone says, like, oh my gosh, I really like that shirt. Oh, you know, this whole thing, I've had it forever. And it's so, there's a stain on it. I don't really even like the way it feels. Instead of just saying thank you and letting this compliment in. So you'll notice that you don't talk about yourself. You feel that it's wrong to. Maybe you wish that you could share more and you feel really disconnected with people. You feel like, I used to be this happy, loving person, and now I don't really know. Or you find yourself just like talking about like random things and nothing about yourself. It is okay to talk about yourself, but you feel, if you've been emotionally neglected, you feel like it's not right to talk about yourself. So children who grow up when their emotions are disregarded or discouraged, or you feel rejected, you will start to build up this wall where everything is like, no, I'm not going to let you in. You feel that you're interfering when it comes to other people. You feel that you're a burden to yourself or anyone else. And you may think that this is like a great strategy in handling all this, but over time, it really, really starts to weigh on you. You really start to pay a high price. And a lot of people, it comes in the form of disease, you know, high anxiety, having to take anxiety or panic medication, depression medication, and you grow up feeling really, really super disconnected. I just said really super. My daughter is saying that lately. Really super disconnected from your feelings, and it makes it really hard to know what you feel, what you like, what you need, when you need it, when you don't need it, and you start to feel really selfish and you feel wrong. And it almost begins to feel like impossible to even express your feelings, any kind of feeling, because deep, deep, deep down, you feel that you're so unimportant. You feel you're like less valid than everybody else around you. Well, it's okay for them to talk about themselves, but you are just overwhelmed by these feelings that you have. So sometimes you go through life thinking, oh, you know, things should be fine. And even if people ask you, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm really good. I'm fine. Because you don't feel that you have the right to truly express yourself. And that's because of this childhood emotional neglect. So sometimes, unbeknownst to you, hopefully you have loving people in your life who catch a glimpse of what's going on, and they're there to support you. And if you're feeling this, know that it's deeply rooted in your past, and it's not a place that you need to stay the rest of your life, because you'll feel what you really want is to be happy and peaceful, but you can't. Maybe you're reading the books, maybe you're talking to a counselor or a therapist, but you just feel like you're hitting this wall, like you're really not getting anywhere. You've got to get to the root cause and the seeds that were planted that caused you to feel that way. Because everyone deserves to be seen, heard, loved, appreciated, accepted, feel that they fit in, that they belong, that they're worthy, that they are enough, that they matter. The list goes on. But oftentimes when you've had emotional neglect as a child, and it doesn't even have to be anything that was really extreme or severe to cause it, this shows up in this outward expression of your relationships. I mean, those are the most important things to us. We have relationships with our family, our significant others, and our people that we work with at our job. All around us, relationships are developed. So if you have these beliefs from childhood emotional neglect, this may be impacting your relationships as an adult. So there is a way. You're not stuck with this for the rest of your life, but it does take doing a lot of deep inner work and getting back to the root cause of that. So I hope that you have found this video helpful, and if you are experiencing any of these signs and you are looking for something else, another way to kind of break through this and really not live in this space any longer, because it's certainly not a comfortable or fun space to live in, I would love to chat with you and talk more. But if you're feeling any of these things, first of all, no, you're not crazy and you're not alone, and it wasn't your fault. It was just an interpretation of event that you had when you were a child that left you feel that you were, less than or not good enough, or that you didn't fit in, that you didn't belong. So thank you guys as always for tuning in, for watching, and I hope you're enjoying your summer so far and staying well.